The finding in the temple, also called Christ among the doctors, or the Disputation, was an episode in the early life of Jesus depicted in the Gospel of Luke. It is the only event of the later childhood of Jesus mentioned in a Gospel account. The episode is described in Luke chapter 2 verses 41 to 52. Jesus at the age of 12 accompanies Mary, Joseph and a large group of the relatives and friends to Jerusalem on pilgrimage, following the custom of the feast, that is, Passover. On the day of the return, Jesus lingered in the temple, but Mary and Joseph thought that he was among the group. Mary and Joseph headed back home and after a day of travel realized Jesus was missing, so they returned to Jerusalem. Finding Jesus 3 days later, he was found in the temple in discussion with the elders. They were amazed at his learning, especially given his young age. When admonished by Mary, Jesus replied, "Why did you seek me? Did you not know that I must be about my Father's business?" The story was slightly elaborated in later literature, such as the apocryphal 2nd century infancy Gospel of Thomas. The losing of Jesus is the third of the 7 sorrows of Mary, and the finding in the temple is the 5th joyful mystery of the Rosary. In art, this event is frequently shown in art, and was a common component in cycles of the life of the Virgin as well as the life of Christ. In early Christian depictions, Jesus is usually shown in the center, seated on a raised dais surrounded by the elders, who are often on step benches. The gesture usually made by Jesus, pointing to his upraised thumb, may be a conventional rhetorical gesture expressing the act of expounding text. These depictions derive from classical compositions of professors of philosophy or rhetoric with their students, and are similar to medieval depictions of contemporary university lectures. This composition can appear until as late as Angra and beyond. From the early medieval period, the moment shown is usually assimilated to the finding itself by the inclusion of, initially, Mary, and later Joseph as well, usually at the left of the scene. Typically, Jesus and the doctors, intent on the discussions, have not noticed them yet. From the 12th century, Jesus is often seated in a large throne-like chair, sometimes holding a book or scroll. In late medieval depictions, the doctors, often now carrying a consulting large volumes, may be given specifically Jewish features address, and are sometimes overtly anti-Semitic caricatures, like some of the figures in Albrecht Dürer's version in the Thyssen-Bornemisza Museum in Madrid. For the High Renaissance onwards, many painters showed a close-up of the scene, with Jesus closely surrounded by gesticulating scholars, as in Dürer's version of the subject. Rembrandt, who enjoyed depicting Jewish elders in the temple in various subjects, made 3 etchings of the subject as well as one of the much more unusual scene of Jesus returning from the temple with his parents. The Pre-Raphaelite painter William Holman Hunt painted a version called The Finding of the Savior in the Temple, now at Birmingham, as one of a number of subjects from Jesus's life, for which he traveled to the Holy Land to study local details. The subject has attracted few artists since the 19th century, and one of the last notable depictions may be the one painted as a forgery of a Vermeer by Han van Meegeren in front of the Dutch police, in order to demonstrate that the paintings he had sold to Hermann Göring were also fake. Main source: G. Schiller, Iconography of Christian Art, Volume I, 1971, Lund Humphreys, London, pp.